It's that time of year when NFL players who are in a contract year and haven't signed new deals yet are holding out and threatening to leave their team. That's what's great about the NFL. Hello, folks. Welcome to Jeremy Hadler's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, and today I'll be going through the biggest NFL contract holdouts in NFL history.
You have a contract.
Contracts are like hearts. They're made to be broken.
This year's contract holdout candidates in the NFL are Trey Hendrickson, Terry McLaurin, Shamar Stewart, TJ Watt, James Cook, and last year, of course, to give you a fun one, was Brandon Ayuk.
Be assured, this day will come. It's just a matter of time. Could be 1 month, could be 2 months.
3 months.
Could be.
4 months.
I can see that happening, yes.
8 months.
That's a realistic timeline.
11 months.
Perhaps.
Okay, wait, now really think hard about this one. 1 year.
I could see that as a very real possibility.
This has usually lasted between the franchise tag when it's presented to them to holding out the entire NFL season. Some have worked out, some have not worked out for both parties. Well, let's start off with a more recent situation, which is the Le'Veon Bell situation. Le'Veon Bell, after 5 great seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers, earning 3 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pro, Bell was franchise tagged for a second consecutive year, seeking long-term security and a deal with guaranteed money. Bell refused to sign the tag and sat out the entire 2018 season rather than play without a new contract. He left Pittsburgh and signed a 4-year, $52 million contract with the New York Jets. But his career declined significantly after the holdouts. Years later, Bell regrets leaving the Steelers and doing the holdouts, and said his holdout was not just about the money, but it was about the principle and wanting guarantees in his contract, especially after seeing how the Steelers handle star players nearing the end of their careers, which has definitely influenced the running back market today in the NFL, like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Derrick Henry. And to give you a situation that was caught on camera very well on Hard Knocks was Darrelle Revis and the New York Jets in 2010. Revis was already one of the NFL premier cornerbacks. He wanted a new contract after outperforming his rookie deal and wanted to be paid the highest paid quarterback in the league. Revis was asking for about $16 million per year. The Jets initially offered 2 offers. One was a 10-year, $120 million contract and a 4-year, $40 million contract. But both proposals included little guaranteed money. Reeves' agents countered with a $162 million 10-year request and over $40 million guaranteed. Reeves sat out the majority of training camp for about 35 days, including missing practices, preseason games, while negotiations kept dragging on. This standoff was again highlighted in Hard Knocks with the New York Jets when they were on Hard Knocks between the tension between the player, the front office, and head coach Rex Ryan, who was the Jets head coach at the time.
Hey, you know what? I've been going at this thing for the last several days. I'm going to go coach this team, get them ready for Baltimore, so I'm done. You know the way the owner feels? I mean, I can't believe we can't get a damn deal done. It's a joke. 3 years left on a contract.
What's the negotiation playbook say to do now?
Just before the regular season, Reeves and the Jets agreed to a 4-year, $46 million contract with $32 million in various guarantees and $11 million in additional guarantees for Reeves. This deal allowed him to play and return in time for the season opener. Reeves' holdouts and eventual contract reshaped the market for top quarterbacks and how they could wield in contract negotiations. Reeves returned that season and played at a high level, helping the New York Jets reach the AFC Championship game that season, which was also the last time the Jets made the playoffs. So it's been a long, long, long time for the New York Jets since they've been to the postseason. Has anybody ever told you about the Legion of Boom? You ever heard about them with Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman? Ever hear about them? One of the best defenses of all time. Ever hear about them? No? Well, let's talk about one of the key members. And that was the last remaining key member of the Legion of Boom secondary, Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas wanted a new contract or he wanted to be traded. He believed he had earned long-term security after years of taking discounted deals and team-first sacrifices to keep the core of the group together. He publicly stated, "Pay me or trade me," citing the departures of his fellow stars and his desire for certainty about his future. Thomas skipped all off-season activities, including mandatory minicamp, threatened to continue his holdout into the regular season unless his contract situation was resolved. Despite getting trade interest from the Dallas Cowboys, the Seattle Seahawks held firm and did not offer a new deal or accept any trade offers whatsoever for Thomas. Thomas ultimately ended his holdout just before the regular season, reporting to the team without a new contract and incurring over $1 million in fines. That season, in Week 4, he suffered a season-ending leg fracture. That was the end. That would end his season. That would end it for all, which highlight the risk for players when playing without long-term security. Thomas's holdout and its aftermath underscore the tension between player loyalty, business decisions, and the harsh realities of NFL contracts. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's a business, and they got to make money off of that. Does anybody know who the biggest NFL draft bust is in NFL history? Anybody? Anybody? Well, that was Jamarcus Russell. And Jamarcus Russell had an interesting contract holdout situation with the Oakland Raiders, who they were called at the time, in 2007. Russell held out as the #1 overall pick, missing the start of the season through training camp and the preseason while negotiating his first contract. The holdout lasted over 6 weeks and extended into the first week of the regular season, making it one of the longest rookie holdouts at the time. The dispute centered on guarantee money in the contract structure. Russell's agent argued that the money in question should be fully guaranteed, which is a key reason why the standoff was occurring, because there's not enough fully guaranteed money. The Raiders and Russell's camp finally reached an agreement just before the start of the regular season, with Russell signing a 6-year contract worth up to $68 million, including about $32 million in guarantees. At the time, was the richest rookie contract in NFL history, despite the record-setting contract. We all know how Russell's career turned out. He was a bust, and he did not last long with the Raiders. His release came in 2010, and the Raiders even sought to recoup $9.5 million in salary advances. So that just goes to show you the biggest draft bust of all time made some money in the process. To give you one situation I would argue that worked out for both sides was Emmitt Smith and the Dallas Cowboys in 1993. Dallas Cowboys had just won their Super Bowl. They just won a Super Bowl with the core of Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and Troy Aikman. Emmitt Smith wanted a new contract, and he held out for a new contract into the regular season that following off season. The dispute centered on a reported $8 million difference between what Smith wanted and what the Cowboys were offering. Smith missed the entire training camp and the first 2 regular season games, both of which the Cowboys lost without him. The team's struggles prompted Jerry Jones, the owner at the time, and still the owner to this day for the Dallas Cowboys, to offer Smith a new deal. Both sides finally renegotiated and worked it all out to make a new deal for Smith. Smith returned to the Dallas Cowboys and led the Cowboys to a 12-2 record the rest of the way. Was named All-Pro, was named Super Bowl MVP as Dallas won its 2nd consecutive championship of Super Bowl. They won 2 Super Bowls in a row here, ladies and gentlemen. So that just goes to show you it worked out for both sides in that situation. Emmitt Smith, he got the money and the Super Bowl. Jerry, he got his Super Bowl again. Let's talk about one of the greatest running backs of all time, Eric Dickerson, who had multiple contract holdouts with different teams. Starting in 1985, Eric Dickerson set the NFL single-season rushing record in 1984 with 2,105 rushing yards. In that offseason of 1985, Dickerson wanted a new contract. Both sides were unable to reach an agreement, and he held out for the first 2 games of the 85 regular season before he returned, which he did return, and still ran for 1,234 rushing yards and 12 rushing TDs, though that this was a significant drop from this previous year's record-setting performance. He had another holdout situation, which came in 1987 with the Rams again. The relationship with the Rams kept deteriorating further. It kept getting worse and worse, and Dickerson held out again despite having a contract and walked down the team in 1987. This led to a blockbuster 3-way trade that year, which sent Dickerson to the Indianapolis Colts and became one of the most significant trades in NFL history. When he got to the Indianapolis Colts, he was initially productive, but he later had disputes and was suspended for refusing to practice or take a physical, illustrating the ongoing tensions between the star and management. Dickerson's holdout are remembered as some of the most dramatic in NFL history, showcasing the challenges of contract disputes between superstar players and teams. In the 1987 draft, which he was traded to the Colts, as I mentioned before, was one of the biggest trades in NFL history. As part of the trade, another name that happened to come upon was Cornelius Bennett in the 1987 trade after being selected by the Indianapolis Colts as the second overall pick in the 1987 draft, Bennett and the Colts were unable to agree on a rookie contract that led to Bennett to hold out for 102 days, which his holdout overlapped the NFL's 24-day player strike that season. And he was a part of that trade, as I mentioned before, in the three team, which included the Colts, the Buffalo Bills, and the Rams. In this deal, to get more detail about it, Bennett was sent to the Bills, Colts acquired Eric Dickerson from the Rams, and again, this trade was often referred as the trade of the decade. Bennett went on to be a cornerstone of the Bills D, earned himself 5 Pro Bowls, and helped the team make 4 consecutive Super Bowl appearances from 1990 to 1993. Despite the holdout, Bennett's NFL career was highly successful and is remembered as one of the best linebackers of his era. Continue with this 1980s draft because there was another contract holdout situation of a draft pick, which was Kelly Stouffer and the Arizona St. Louis Cardinals. They were called St. Louis Cardinals at the time. Stouffer was selected 6th overall by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 1987 draft. Contract negotiations quickly broke down, with Stouffer's agent seeking a premium deal for a QB, while the Cardinals offered less than was typically offered for his draft position. The dispute led Stouffer to hold out the entire 1987 NFL season. He never played a down for the Cardinals and spent the year away from the team. Cardinals owner at the time, Bill Bidwell, told Stouffer, "We don't have to do business like everybody else. You'll play for me or you'll never play in this league." Cardinals eventually traded Stouffer's rights to the Seattle Seahawks before the 1988 draft. Stouffer signed with the Seahawks and played 4 seasons in Seattle, but he never lived up to expectations, finishing his career with just 7 touchdown passes and 19 interceptions. Cardinals, they got themselves out of that one. Stouffer did not work out. He did not have a great career in the NFL. Did not. One contract holdout situation that's very well known in the NFL in very early stage when contract negotiations started to come, which was John Riggins in 1980 with Washington. It was one of the most notable contract disputes in NFL history. During training camp in 1980 in July, Riggins requested to renegotiate his $300,000 per year contract, seeking both a pay increase and a guaranteed money for the remaining years of his deal. At that time, ladies and gentlemen, $300,000 was a lot of money. But Riggins, he wanted to get a head start of what it is today of the money. Riggins sat out the entire 1980 season. While the dispute continued, he filed a grievance to the NFLPA arguing that the Redskins, which what they were called at the time, use of the left camp retired list was an illegal restraint of his right to play. The situation was resolved when Riggins returned to the Redskins in 1981.
Well, I'll start off by saying I'm bored, I'm broke, and I'm back. Guys are, they're just like they've always been. It's almost like I hadn't been gone. And I'm getting kind of tired of just running up and down the field by myself. But after laying off this long, as that Wild Mountain man said, and it better be good.
Dropping his contract demands and expressing a renewed desire to play football. Despite the holdout and missing a full season, Riggins went on to have some of his best years of his career with Washington, being named the Super Bowl MVP the next season and setting, at the time, a then NFL record for rushing TDs in a single season in 1983. My last contract holdout situation that I think is the most interesting out of all the contract holdout situations I've already mentioned is Dwayne Thomas and the Dallas Cowboys. After a standout rookie season where he helped the Cowboys reach their first Super Bowl and finish second in Offensive Rookie of the Year, Thomas wanted a new contract with a raise. At the time, it was highly unusual because no player asked management, "Can I have a raise?" Nobody asked that, especially under a hardline management of Cowboys GM Tex Schramm, because you thought Jerry Jones was hardline about debating whether a guy should get contracts or not and give him a raise. Tex was way heavier and harder. He was hard to get a contract raise out of him.
Liar and a cheat and a hypocrite.
Thomas sat out the entire 1971 training camp in protest. Cowboys responded by trading him to the New England Patriots. The situation grew even stranger because Thomas lasted just 5 days. That's right, 5 days in New England before the Patriots asked the league to reverse the trade due to his inability to get along with the head coach. The NFL granted this unprecedented request, sending Thomas back to Dallas. Despite being forced to return, Thomas gave the shun of a lifetime because he refused to talk to his teammates, his coaches, or the media for the entire season, maintaining a vow of silence throughout. Nonetheless, though, he played a key role in the field, leading the NFL in rushing TDs, helped the Cowboys win their first Super Bowl title. After the season, his relationship with the Cowboys got worse, and he was traded to the San Diego Chargers the following year, which is what they were called at the time, marking the beginning of a swift decline in his NFL career. So what did we learn here today, ladies and gentlemen? Both sides can win or lose. One side can win, one side cannot lose. And that's what business is like when you're dealing with NFL contract and sports contracts in general in sports. A lot of players gain more money. More money, getting what they want. The players getting more demands than was back in the day where the front office maintained more control. Now you're seeing the players twisted around today. You're seeing the players twist around today. But that'll do it here, folks. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you're late. Well, that will do it here, folks. Make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not done so. Appreciate everyone tuning in. And that's a wrap here. We'll see you next time. And as always, go Pack Go. And we'll see who gets the next contract.